Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, man, Prep News back again, like we never left. Joining me is Jan Murphy, otherwise known as Worldwide. He's with Legacy Sports. Also, David Jones. He is a JUCO specialist. He is with Hidden Gems Hoops. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
How you doing, man?
Man, Dave, man, Hobart, it's great to be here. Glad we can get on
Man,
the platform.
yeah, man, yeah. Bro, it's both of you guys' first time, huh?
Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
been on it. So
Yeah. Hey,
I'm,
welcome, men. Welcome. Welcome to Prep News, um, leading source for high school sports in the state of Louisiana. And it's like always, all we care about is helping kids in all sports. This event just happens to be about high school boys basketball and unsigned college transfers. And so we're just trying to help kids collectively here, three different entities, all with the same purpose. We're going to go start with Worldwide Murph. Murph, give us a little bit of background about yourself, man.
yeah, so a little bit of background about me. I coach summer basketball with All for Sports. It's a unique program out here in Houston, Texas. We've had kids from the Louisiana area. We've had kids from the Houston area, Texas area. Then I moved on to coach Division One at Houston Baptist University for 3 years, and now I'm back at the high school level, just working in grassroots, kind of taking my hand out of coaching specifically, but I still have a passion for kind of helping kids achieve their dreams, and get educated in the process. So that's kind of a little background on me.
No doubt, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, Dave, can you give us a little background on yourself and your product, Hidden Gems Hoop?
yeah, definitely. So basically, I'm David Jones. I'm the owner of Hoops Hidden Gems scouting service
Oh,
as
my
well.
bad.
Oh, now you're good. You're good. As well as Hoops Hidden Gems podcast that comes on every Monday. So I deal in. I'm sorry, and I also forgot JUCO Nation as well. So I deal on the AAU side, the JUCO side, the high school side, and I also deal on the 4 year side as well. So, like you said earlier, it's about helping the kids have a footprint in Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan.
Right, right, right. So, and as most of you guys know, I'm Hobart Grayson with Off the Bench Sports. The primary thing that I do with that is broadcast and bring exposure and memories to high school student athletes across the state of Louisiana. I also too have footprints in the Houston area of Texas as well as Mississippi and Georgia. And so again, man, I'm honored to partner with you guys who have a great love for high school and college as athletics as well, like myself. This weekend, April 2nd, in the New Orleans area, it's only fitting that we have an event for the kids that we kind of target. And what better way to or weekend to do it than the NCAA Final Four held in New Orleans at the New Orleans Superdome, where coaches are gonna be.
Yeah, I think that's huge, Hobart. I'm excited about being in New Orleans. My dad's side of the family is from Louisiana, specifically New Orleans. So I'll get back to visit some people, and do the most important thing. We get to put on an event to help some kids. I think one thing that's really huge right now with the transfer portal and just kind of the way college athletics are moving, I think it's going to be crucial for kids to have these type of events. And like you said, doing it at the Final Four, what better place? I mean, you're gonna have coaches swarming the place all over. So it's gonna be huge to be able to do that right near where the NCAA men's Final Four will be.
Right. What are your thoughts on that, Dave?
Did we lose Dave?
Yeah, he muted.
I think we muted Dave. But yeah, when we get Dave back in, and I think like you said, it's great. We've got the Louisiana Footprint. I mean, on the bench has been doing it for. I mean, how many years have you been doing it now, Hobert?
I'm at the end of year 5, man.
Yeah.
And the crazy part about it is, man, I'm still super in love with high school athletics. Like it makes my heart happy every time I get to just be involved and be a part of it.
Yeah, I think, and then just for the viewers, just to kind of give a rundown, we'll do the combine. It'll be from 10 to 1 are the times we'll do the combine. We have a Google form that I've created for the combine. So all the players, you can reach out to myself on either one of David's social media pages. You can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Holbert with On the Bench and just fill out the inquiry form. So just to kind of give you guys how that process will go, you'll fill out the form. The committee, not ourselves, there's another committee we have that kind of selects and goes through the inquiries, and then you'll get an email offering acceptance if the committee deems you acceptable for the combine. So you'll fill it out. You'll get an email saying, hey, you've been accepted. You'll get the next email to push forward to the acceptance process. And then we'll kind of get that facilitated and going. Have your transcripts ready, guys, because we do want to have those academic transcripts already on hand for coaches. And then the coaches piece, you'll have NAIA coaches, you'll have Division III coaches, you'll have Division II coaches, and then of course the Division can't be on site, but they will be watching the live stream. So Hobert can talk to you guys a little bit about the live stream because we'll do that through his platform.
Well, the great thing that I like about it, and from what I've heard, is we've already had over 20 plus JUCO Division II, Division III NAIA coaches that have signed up to be there in person, as well as I think we have a gang of coaches that are waiting for the live event to come forward. So it the potential is there. The potential is there for everyone to. The potential is there for everyone to come forward and get the exposure needed. Everyone behind the scenes have done a great job of getting coaches invited to be a part of this momentous occasion that's going to happen. And so with that being said, why not? Why not be a part of it? Because again, we've done the work behind the scenes and getting coaches ready to be a part of this event, whether they are there in person or viewing it through Off the Bench Sports.
Yeah, no,
I thought we had Dave, but just like that, he's gone again. I've been trying to. I made a little mistake, man. So I got a couple of different podcasts that I deal with. And in doing that, I just named the podcast wrong. So I'm trying to correct that. So y'all just bear with me, man. I titled it "Life Off the Bench," and it should have been "Off the Bench Sports Prep News."
Yeah, no. But just to kind of piggyback on what you were talking about, I mean, I think that's huge. I mean, to be able to get Coach, oh, we got Dave back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
The busiest man working. For all the viewers, if you guys didn't know, this is probably one of the busiest men in America on the grassroots side. He's building an empire over there. But
Right.
Dave,
So,
we lost you, but just share your thoughts. I mean, it's coming from your.
well, before you share your thoughts, Dave, did you give everyone a little background about you? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
So, just making sure that we're all on the same page, because Louisiana is a funny and fickle state, man. They don't know you until they know you. And so, with that being said, we just want to make sure that everybody is putting their credentials out on Front Street, so that the people will see that we ain't no Rudy Poops, man. Contrary to what people may say, feel, or think, we on screen right now, we probably have over 60 years experience together.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And
So,
I just
Dave,
look at this. Yeah. No, I
go
said
ahead, bro.
I look at this as, as I got to meet a bunch of you all as well. Even when I came to Houston for the events during Thanksgiving, for on the high school side, me and Murph got a chance to chop it up. Got a chance to meet OB as well. And I met him at the JUCO Jamboree. So I'm all over the place. So, I met him I met him at Dan Mullen's event in Dallas. And at that time, that's how all this really started to come together, because like I said, I'm at camps, I'm at JUCO Jamborees, I'm at high school AAUs. That's where I was this past weekend in Atlanta. So, of course, we'll be down there for Final Four. And, it made sense to bring these platforms together. And, since we all know a number of different coaches, why not give these kids a chance to basically say, hey, look, this is what it is. And that's a situation where, this is for the kids. And with the portal the way it is now, it's tough. Man. It's really tough on high school kids. Man. Really tough.
Let me ask you guys this, man, because this has been a real thing for the last couple of years, with kids entering the transfer portal, like in just unimaginable numbers. Will we ever get back to what was considered normal, and kids just going to schools and staying there and doing their 4 years possibly at one school?
I say no. And I say no unless the NCAA makes some changes and regulates these transfer rules. No, we're going to have to evolve from the way the portal is now, because right now the portals between Division 1, 2, and 3 is almost at 2,000.
Yeah,
it's almost at 2,000, and we're not even in April right now.
Yeah,
that's almost double what it was last year at this time. Matter of fact, it is double. We're skating. I made a prediction because I put a tweet out this past weekend and said we're on the verge of seeing 3,000 kids this year in the portal. At this rate, I may be off. We may be at 3,500 the way it's going right now. And I say that because there's so many coaching changes. And when these coaches are coming in, they're clearing house. So it's not always the kid that's going into the portal per his own decision. He's being forced into the portal sometime. And that's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in. So to go back to your question, no, we're not going back to pre-pandemic, the way recruiting was. We're not.
And just, I guess for what it's worth, my answer, I would agree with Dave. And then I would go a step further and just offer some advice to all the prospects out there. It is crucial. I mean, from being on the college athletic side, being an actual coach, working in the athletic department at the Division I level, it is crucial that as a kid coming out of high school, or even if you're a transfer, a one-time transfer, pick the right school, guys. Like, you have to find a school that fits you. You got to find a staff that fits you, and just an environment. Because I think a lot of times, and Dave and Hobart, y'all can speak to it, kids go in the portal and you end up stuck in the portal with 3,000 other kids. I mean, so I just think it's really instrumental, and I kind of wanted to echo that message, of just making sure that we pick the right schools.
And let's look at it like this, real quick, Hobart. What other people aren't talking about is last year there was 800 kids that went unclaimed in the portal.
Yep.
And that's another thing people aren't talking about, because the portal's good to some extent. It forces schools to say, hey, we're acknowledging this kid wants to leave, and there's an avenue for him to be picked up. That's great. But there's a downside to it as well. You got 800 kids that had a home at some point that are unclaimed. And it's going to be more than 800 this year.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's where the event ties in, because this is a place, and this is something I think we all can agree we want to be able to continue going forward, and continue doing these type of events so kids can get exposure.
Going back to what you said, we're saying about these colleges and universities having coaching changes, and not to pick on this school or anything, but Northwestern State here in Natchitoches, Louisiana, they changed girls coaches last year, and like you said, she cleaned house and brought in her own team. So when you have those situations, how do you get from a kid's perspective? How do you know if you're choosing the right school if you can't control whether coaches retain their job or not? Because at some point you thought that this was the right school for you, and so the administrators at said colleges and universities decide to go in a different direction. There's nothing you can do as a player to control that. You've done your due diligence in making sure that your grades are right. You've done your due diligence from a standpoint of making sure that your skill set and IQ are growing as well. But again, boom, out of the blue, coaching change.
Yeah.
What does a kid do from that perspective?
No, yeah, I think, and that's a huge concern. I think that's always been a part of college athletics. It just comes kind of with the nature of the beast. I think everybody can agree that we kind of call it the business of sports. Coaches get fired, coaches get hired, they get moved, different jobs go up, down. I just think, like you said, it's key academically. Kids, make sure you're taking care of your academics at all times, because you never know what could happen. You don't want to limit yourself in situations. There's some schools, Dave and I talk about it extensively. There's high academic schools, D3 schools, and high academic schools that want kids and are looking for players. So definitely maintain those grades so you don't limit your opportunities. And then, of course, there, like Hobart said, there's some things you just can't control. And that's why we have avenues like the combine that we're going to do on Saturday to help kids. And just, I think that's key, like just helping the kids.
And to your point, there'll be some D3 schools in attendance as well. And, we always want to make sure we stress that, there will be high academic prospects there for, these coaches to see as well. So, I think that's a trend that we need to buck, especially in a number of communities where people sometimes look down at these high academic opportunities because it's not, quote, D1 or D2. Number one, what people don't understand is there's kids from D3 that are going to play professionally overseas. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, some of these D3 schools are some of the best academic schools in the country.
Yep.
Please don't get it twisted to think that all Power 5 schools are high academic schools, because that's not the case. So we're at a point where we have to educate athletes as well as parents as well to say, hey, this is a great opportunity to be seen, to have another chance to play college basketball as well. And these guys advocate for their programs as well. And also, when the basketball stops bouncing, it's a quality degree that you have, that jobs will say, hey, this is a good school you graduated from. So listen, I love D1s, I love D2s, I love D3s. I was at the D3 first and second round of the NCAA tournament. I was at the D2 first and second round. And when people start to see that quality of basketball, understand they can beat some of those low major D1s. And I'm not here to call out any low major D1s, but some of those high D2s will definitely beat them. And I think this year, don't quote me, I think there were 3 or 4 D3s that knocked off D1s this year. So basketball's, because of the portal, basketball's going to evolve even more on the D2, D3, NAI level, because there's just not enough spaces on D1 for all these kids in the portal alone, let alone the 600,000 athletes that are out there that are high school kids.
Yeah. And just to kind of put it in perspective, I think that's something we all always talk about. I mean, out of that 600,000 in high school, what is it, 3%? 3% make it to college and play college athletics. So it just, we've got to keep in perspective from the parent and the student athlete side that playing college basketball, whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III, NAIA, NCCAA, LCA, like that's a huge accomplishment. And it's an honor.
Where do we get to a point where I have what I think in my mind is a formula for success for student athletes, but all the time parents aren't athletic parents. Like they didn't play athletics growing up as a child, then therefore of course they didn't play collegiate athletics as a young adult. So they don't understand or even know the process in which it takes to get their kids prepared. How do we get parents on a better level to understand what they need to do to help their kids become students of the game from a skill set and IQ standpoint?
Okay, well, the first question becomes, and that's a great question that you just brought up. High school and AAU has to take accountability and work together to educate these parents. You can't put it on one or the other, because right now there's always some type of distance between high school and AAU. At some point, they got to come together to educate, whether it's a symposium, and it's not about whoever's taking credit. It's about the education getting out there. I think it's great that if somebody stepped up that as a consultant or went to community centers to say, hey, if you're interested in your kid going to school, come to this free, symposium where we're going to give out the education, or maybe a little PowerPoint presentation. That needs to happen. But I don't know of anybody that's doing that. Now, there's some good AAU programs that do that, and those are far and few in between, because the whole idea a lot of times is they're trying to push to get their kids in school, but nobody's pushing to say, hey, to make yourself more attractive, why not apply for this merit money? And if a coach can advocate to say, hey, this kid can play and he has a full academic ride, or his education is paid for off of merit money, I guarantee you a coach will look at that kid if it doesn't cost anything to their budget. At the least, he would let them practice with the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think just to kind of go back to it, it's key. That was huge, Dave. That they do need a symposium. We do need to educate the parents, for the non-athletic parents that don't know. Definitely, like we talked about, it's got to be grades. I mean, we see it. You see it, Hobart. I see it, and Dave sees it. Where we've got kids that talented, really talented, but grades wise, JUCOs can only hold so many.
Yeah.
The post grads can only hold so many. I mean, at some point, we got to move on to that next level, and it starts academically. For me personally, education's always been huge for me. Always been important, because I feel like if you're doing well in the classroom and striving to do well in the classroom, it'll translate over to basketball stuff, and it'll translate over to the court. It's like that old saying, when your room is a mess, that means in your head, your mind is a mess. But when you straighten up your room and clean your room, you can tell you're on a clear thought process. So that's kind of how I take it, to keep a clean house academically so it can turn over athletically.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Again, knowledge is key. And even in this recruiting game, you'll see kids of less talent get on because they have the pertinent knowledge to find a academic D3. Because like you just said, if you don't have grades, if you're under a 3.0, you're limiting a number of possible opportunities.
Yeah. It's huge.
My bad, y'all. So when we look at this thing that we're trying to give this weekend to kids, what comes to mind when you say, okay, how do I know what level I'm supposed to be trying to play at? Because everybody isn't high major D1 like they think. How can we get kids to know what level they're supposed to be trying to play at their next level?
I look at it like this. I'm not an analytic person, but I will say let the numbers speak for themselves. If you're not getting D1 interest right now, it's already very slim that a lot of kids are going D1. But if you're not getting D1 interest by April, and this is your senior year, unless you play out of your mind in live period as an unsigned kid, it's just not going to happen. And these conversations need to be had, because in talking to coaches every day, coaches have no problem saying, I'm going exclusively from the portal or JUCO. So right now they don't have time for high school kids, because in most instances, 95% of cases, they have to bring them in, they have to develop them to get them ready in a year or two, so they're finally ready to contribute. Very few high school kids are ready to contribute from the door, because the game's faster, it's stronger, your IQ has to be sharp, you got to learn the plays. So, I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of kids that aren't ready for D2. And people don't understand how high a level D2 is as well. So in these type of situations, instead of parents saying, oh, well, my son is this, that, and the other, definitely come to combines, go to workouts. A bunch of these schools will invite kids to come to workouts and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you're only getting D3 offers, or D3 interest, the numbers are not lying to you. That's where you pretty much are, unless you're just in the middle of nowhere and nobody really knows about you. But if you're going to these events and you're going to workouts and you're not getting any phone calls back or any emails or texts, go where they want you. Don't try and force it to say, well, I'm going to go to LSU. I'm going to go to Georgia. I'm going to go and I'm going to walk on. Are there instances where that happened? Yes, there are small instances like that, but more times than not, you're not going to go to a Power 5 and just say, hey, I'm going to come in here and shock the world. You have to be realistic. And if this NAI is calling you, or this D3 is calling you, or this JUCO D3 or independent is calling you saying, hey, we really want you, go where you're wanted. Plain and simple.
And I would echo everything you just said, Dave, especially being a former Division I coach. I mean, just to give the viewers kind of a perspective, Division I coaches get hundreds of emails from players every single day, guys. Like, I can remember opening up my email box. There's more emails than I even have time to read on a daily basis. That's not to say don't email, but that's just to kind of give you a perspective.
Get a tape measure.
Coaches game planning, they're practicing every day. They just don't, there's not enough time in the day to answer every email they get. They're getting emails from hundreds of kids, transfers, high school kids, post-grad kids. So like I would, and just to bring it back to kind of the central theme, that's why events like this are crucial and they help a lot, because you'll have coaches from all levels, D3, NAI, D2, Division Ones, watching the live stream, and you guys will get to go out and get exposure and kind of show what you guys can do.
I agree.
Hey, man. Super important that you guys come out and be a part of the event. It's going to be held in New Orleans, invite only. And so we're not putting the location out unless you get the invite.
Right.
The event will happen from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Again, the event will be broadcasted live.
10 a.m. to 1.
10 a.m.
10 to 1, over. 10 to 1.
Huh?
10 to 1.
Oh,
yeah, 10 to 1. 10 to 1.
Oh, my bad. I don't know why I thought I heard 11 to 2. Y'all forgive me on that. My bad. But the event will be broadcasted live through Off the Bench Sports. Just check it out, man. And if you're serious about playing at your next level, whatever that may be, it's not up for us to say. College coaches have really good eyes. They know what they see. They know what they need. They know what they're looking for. Come give your best effort. Get off the bench. Get into the game. Dave, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Listen, we are definitely in a different scenario as we talked about in this recruiting world, and it's going to continue to evolve. There's going to be some good things that come out of the portal. There's going to be some bad things that come out of the portal. But to Murph's point, at the end of the day, these combines are going to be very important for people that are unseen and unsigned. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Murph, final thoughts.
Final thought. I mean, I like get off the bench and get in the game. That was pretty good, Hobart. I got to give you a credit for that one. That's a great promotion.
That's the motto for Off the Bench Sports from day one. You got to get off the bench to get in the game.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's huge. But just final.
Hey, it's trademarked. So I better not see that on none of y'all platforms.
That means Dave can't use it on his podcast.
Right. Get off the bench. I'll give you a shout out when I do it.
I like you, Dave, and you my guy. But I got a lawyer that loves the suit.
No.
He's a professional suit artist.
But final thoughts from me, guys. I would just tell you, reach out. Dave's page, Hoops Hidden Gems. You can send Dave a DM, follow Dave. You can go to Off the Bench Sports. You can hit him, DM him, follow him. You can follow me at young_Murph, YOUNG_MURF. And then, of course, Dave's JUCO Nation page as well. So just reach out to us, guys. We can get you the form and we can kind of get the process started because we still got a few spots available. So,
absolutely.
Hey, man, we appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy day to come and talk about this unsigned event, this transfer event. We want for you guys to be a part of it. If you are an athlete, and just come and have fun, come and ball out. Come show the world what you got. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I was always told that if you leave it on the court, no one can deny what you can do. And so again, we've done our part on the back end. We talked to coaches. We put the information out there. Now it's your part. Register, pay, play. Oh, that had a nice ring. Register, pay, play. Nice ring. Hey, and then if all else fails, get off the bench, get into the game.